What's up, Boulder? We are just a few days away from the biggest game of the year to this point, and I don't know about you guys, but I can already feel the energy in the air. This game is going to be electric. It's nearly Friday. In fact, go ahead and take tomorrow off. You have my permission. Your boss is going to understand. Today, we are going to talk about why Coach Prime is severely warning the Buffaloes about the Oregon Ducks. So sit back and enjoy this because today is open enrollment, and we're going to reach out to HR and drop off our supplemental Aflac insurance because we all hate Ducks today. Stick around for the prediction at the end because I think that's all what you guys are going to be the most interested in. Colorado and Colorado State was must-see television this last weekend, and the Buffaloes took the win in double overtime. It was a star-studded and drama-filled Rocky Mountain showdown, and it's still being discussed nearly a week later, with the biggest story being, of course, Travis Hunter's injury. Still, the Buffaloes have a tall task ahead of them this weekend, opening conference play against a highly ranked Oregon squad. The Ducks tossed a hapless Hawaii team in a blender this last week. They shredded them 55-10 in blowout fashion, with Heisman contender Bo Nix leading the way. Oregon is going to look to notch a statement win against Colorado to kick off Pac-12 play. Now, despite their offensive capabilities, it's tough to really know about this Oregon team in depth because their only Power 5 matchup was a tight victory on the road against Texas Tech. They squeaked out a 38-30 win. With that in mind, what should we make of Oregon's strengths and weaknesses? Will the Ducks take the Buffs to the woodshed like so many believe, or will Colorado once again shock the world? Let's start out with Oregon's strengths. Now, everything seems to run through Bo Nix. He is their pivotal piece, and everything offensively centers around him. With a lack of a pass rush presence along the defensive front, Buffs fans should be prepared for another shootout. Colorado has, to this point, only produced 5 sacks through 3 games, and giving the advantage that Oregon is going to have at home, Bo Nix and his Ducks will look to drop bombs all over Colorado's secondary. In the 2022 season, if Nix was protected, he would complete 76.9% of his passes. Now, it wasn't as accurate when pressure was gotten to him, but he's not afraid to go after the long ball, and he's producing similar stats so far this season when he's playing at home. Now, Bo Nix can't do much without skill position players, but unfortunately for Colorado, the Ducks have some weapons at their disposal. Troy Franklin has 17 catches for just under 300 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns through the first few weeks of the season. Additionally, Oregon has a lethal weapon at running back in Bucky Irving. He's averaging 8 yards a carry this year and 3 touchdowns. It'll be interesting to compare Colorado's ability to take away the ball, which they have the most takeaways in the country, against Oregon, who is one of only 2 teams in the country who hasn't committed a turnover yet. What about Oregon's weaknesses? Where can Colorado exploit? Well, if there's a weakness that Colorado can try to take advantage of, it is Oregon's untested secondary. They have yet to face a quarterback who is as good and capable as Shedeur Sanders. Sanders has thrown over 10 yards in 50 of his 134 passing attempts, and he's averaging 13.55 yards per. And his deep passes have accounted for 6 of his 10 total touchdowns. The Buffaloes will absolutely test that Oregon secondary, and even without Travis Hunter, Colorado is capable of producing points with Jimmy Horn Jr. and Xavier Weaver. Among 27 receivers with at least 20 receptions, Weaver and Horn are tied for first and second in fewest contested targets. With Travis Hunter out, you can expect Sanders to lean on these 2 studs even more in what will most likely be a very high-scoring game this Saturday. So far in the season, Oregon ranks 30th in the nation when it comes to overall defense, and they have given up 283.7 total yards per game. This accounts for a rushing defense that ranks 7th in the country and a passing defense that ranks 15th in the nation. The defense sounds decent enough, and seemingly matches up against what Colorado is able to do and produce on offense fairly well. However, keep in mind that the level of competition that Oregon has faced at this point in the season is not very good. Most of these stats have come against Portland State and Hawaii, both FCS programs and Mountain West basement dwellers. If we were to remove the Hawaii performance, Oregon would rank 33 in passing defense and 102nd in rushing defense. They'd have the 61st overall defense in the country. Now, it is a home game for the Ducks, and the defense hasn't been tested yet against a legitimate competition, except for that road matchup against Texas Tech. But they're 1-2 on the season, with losses to Wyoming and Oregon as well. Colorado, meanwhile, has a legitimate offensive line and offensive power at the FBS level that Oregon hasn't seen yet. And they obviously know how to go on the road and win because you saw what they did against TCU in the opener. Also, their blowout win against Nebraska, another Power 5 opponent, leads me to believe that there is hope for the Buffaloes to get this done. It will not be easy by any means. But you do have to factor in the Coach Prime effect. You have to factor in who Oregon has played. And I think that leads us to our prediction. So the last few days have been rough on me. I've had to do some serious soul searching about this Oregon game. Dan Lanning has a year head start on Coach Prime, and he inherited a loaded team from Coach Mario Cristobal. So really, he probably has a 2 to 3 year head start. He's also a defensive coach, and his defensive line is probably the best that we're going to see this season. On the other hand, Colorado is coming off of a very physical game. They are down their best player, both maybe offensively and defensively. Offensively, maybe you can argue Shedeur is that player, but it's close either way. They may be missing their center for a second game in a row, and the offensive line is banged up and really had trouble stopping Colorado State's run defense, which is a fraction of what Oregon's is coming with. So I can tell you, against this defense, we're going to need a miracle this week. And I absolutely believe in miracles, and I absolutely believe in this Colorado team. For those who have been around since before the season, you know we unapologetically picked Colorado over TCU. We picked them over Nebraska, no hesitation. We picked them last week over Colorado State. You can go check. The receipts are there. But we've got a whole lot of people here with us now, and we're growing very confident in this team and putting a little extra stuff on the line. They've been telling you guys in the comments how great things are lately, and we've been doing the same. So I've got to ask myself, would I put money on Oregon for this game? Absolutely not. I would never bet against Coach Prime. I'll ride or die with Coach Prime in this thing. But would I bet on Colorado in this game? My heart says yes. But my mind says that this is a business. And clearly, since the channel is business and it's about Coach Prime, I've already made that bet. This isn't the Nick Saban and Deion Sanders channel. It isn't the Lincoln Riley and Deion Sanders channel. This is the prime time for college football. We made that bet a long time ago. So what do you do when your heart says yes and your mind says no? Well, for one, you certainly don't go out and put any money on the game because you're going to need to be right with the man upstairs for miracles needed this week. Don't be wasting goodwill on gambling, smoking, and drinking. Be clean this week. I'm picking Colorado over Oregon. I feel like I'm going to be wrong, but I'm riding with Coach Prime. But do not go out and bet this game. I may be wrong on this, but if I'm wrong, I don't want to end up being right. Don't put your money down. Don't bet it. Ride with the goodwill. Ride with the good vibes. And let's go out and get this win. If you are looking to get in on some of the action from the game, you can do that with our friends over at Prize Picks. You can use their app. You can use our code, BUFFS. You can take the more or the less on Shedeur, Jimmy Horn Jr., Xavier Weaver, whatever you're looking for. Go out and make some money using individuals this week. Prize Picks is your best bet to do so. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. Thank you guys for your support and love. Let's go shock the world on Saturday. Go Buffs.